Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Military Ops. In this video, we'll discuss how Iran, now far more isolated and weakened than it was 4 years ago, will face Donald Trump once again. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do so now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Donald Trump, set to reassume the presidency of the United States, has clear plans to reinstate his maximum pressure policy on Iran. This approach is not new. During his first term, Trump implemented a series of aggressive measures that redefined the relationship between the two countries. In 2018, the United States withdrew from the nuclear deal with Iran, a decision that marked the beginning of a rigorous campaign of economic sanctions targeting the regime's primary sources of revenue, such as oil exports. Iran's oil exports, which previously reached around 2.5 million barrels per day, plummeted to less than 500,000 barrels daily. Alongside economic sanctions, the Trump administration also designated the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, as a terrorist organization, the first time the United States classified an official entity of a sovereign state in this way. This designation further restricted the regime's ability to engage in financial transactions and international partnerships. In addition to all this, in 2020, Trump ordered the strike that resulted in the elimination of General Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Quds Force and one of Iran's most prominent figures. This action, as you can imagine, escalated tensions to alarming levels, with Tehran threatening direct retaliation. However, it also dealt a significant blow to Iran's military influence in the region. Now, with Trump's return, he plans to intensify these measures even further. Sanctions are expected to expand, targeting additional sectors of Iran's economy, while military options, including strikes on nuclear facilities, are being discussed as part of a strategy to contain the Iranian regime. At the same time, Tehran continues to pose a threat to U.S. allies in the region, particularly Israel. Despite pro-Iranian groups being significantly weakened, Iran's influence remains tangible. The question that lingers is how far Trump is willing to go to ensure that Iran is neutralized as a strategic threat. Domestically, Iran is weathering a severe storm, beginning with its shattered economy. In 2024, the Iranian currency devalued by 40% against the dollar, while per capita GDP plummeted by 45% since 2012, pushing much of the Iranian population into extreme poverty. Protests are a clear reflection of this collapse, with merchants from Tehran's Grand Bazaar, historically significant in moments of social unrest, shutting their shops in a rare strike against soaring inflation. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Workers in the oil sector, one of the country's most strategic industries, have also been protesting due to delayed wages. These strikes are accompanied by powerful messages, such as banners carried by retirees in the city of Awaz, calling for an end to militarism, the funding of wars and extremist groups, and the persecution of women over wearing the hijab. These words are not just cries against the economic crisis, but also direct challenges to the regime's ideological focus. The energy crisis exacerbates the situation, affecting critical sectors. The blackout at 22 cement factories has halted construction, while shortages of fertilizers and water pumps threaten food security, putting the next harvest cycle at risk. These structural problems highlight how poor governance and international pressure are driving Iran to the brink of collapse. Externally, Iran is increasingly isolated. Its network of regional allies is deeply weakened, with the fall of Bashar al-Assad, a long-standing pillar of Iranian influence in Syria, representing an immeasurable strategic loss. In Lebanon, Hezbollah is facing significant difficulties after much of its leadership was eliminated in Israeli operations. Hamas, another key ally, has also suffered heavy blows following Israeli retaliatory strikes, leaving Iran reliant on less effective allies in Iraq and Yemen, who, despite their commitment, struggle to pose a substantial threat. Because of this, Iran's nuclear program has taken center stage as its only significant tool of deterrence against external threats. The Iranian government knows that its nuclear program is the last remaining means to balance the power dynamic, particularly against Israel and the United States. However, accelerating this program comes with significant consequences. Domestically, it creates divisions between those who see it as the only way to ensure the nation's sovereignty and those who fear even harsher retaliation. Internationally, the rhetoric of Western powers and preemptive strikes, such as those carried out by Israel in 2024, clearly illustrate the risks of military escalation. Deterrence strategies also face limitations. Israeli airstrikes, in addition to directly targeting nuclear infrastructure, have weakened Iran's air defenses. As a result, even if Tehran invests heavily in its nuclear capabilities, the vulnerability of its military infrastructure remains a critical weakness. Finally, the nuclear program is also a bargaining tool. By signaling advancements in this field, Iran aims to pressure Western powers into considering more favorable negotiations. However, this strategy simultaneously brings the region closer to the prospect of direct military confrontation. With the fall of Bashar al-Assad and the weakening of allies like Hamas and Hezbollah, Israel emerges as an even more dominant force in the Middle East. This situation creates an opportunity for even closer cooperation between the United States and Israel in containing Iran. For Israel, the elimination of immediate threats from its neighbors has strengthened its strategic position. Now, with renewed support from the United States under the Trump administration, the possibility of joint operations against Iran is closer than ever. These could range from preemptive airstrikes on Iranian nuclear infrastructure to intensified economic sanctions. For Iran, this could represent nearly unbearable pressure, as the partnership between these two powers amplifies the resources and intelligence needed to destabilize the Iranian government. Additionally, this collaboration could lead to even greater isolation for Iran, which is already struggling to maintain its regional alliances. This alliance is not only military, it also carries profound diplomatic implications. Stronger coordination between the United States and Israel could influence other Western allies to adopt harsher sanctions against Iran, further crippling its economy and narrowing its options on the international stage. The greatest risk for Iran is that this coordinated pressure could lead to either an internal collapse or a desperate reaction, such as a rapid acceleration of its nuclear program or even direct attacks on Western allies in the region. In either case, the cost would be extremely high for the Iranian regime. For Iran, 2025 is shaping up to be a critical year, with internal crises and external tensions creating an unpredictable environment that could shape the future of the region. Now share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the United States, now under Donald Trump's leadership, should do about this issue? And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do so now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates.